Hello, William Joyce was Lord Haw Haw, and he used to make radio broadcasts and lots of people used to listen to them. And after the Second World War, he was hanged for treason. But what happened to his wife? And this is rather ironic, because William Joyce was born in 1906 in Brooklyn, New York, and his family moved to Ireland 3 years later. His wife, however, born in 1911 at Old Trafford, Manchester, and she got away scot-free. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. How come he was executed, but she wasn't even harmed in any way? In 1933, William Joyce got a British passport, and he lied about his nationality in order to get that. Now, and this is the decision that would later prove the legal basis for his treason conviction. Because if you take a passport from somewhere, it's something. It's a something for something, and so they give you, the country gives you the passport and gives you protection. But in return, you're supposed to give loyalty. So that's the deal. And in the case of William Joyce, it certainly wasn't that way at all. Now, in 1935, William and Margaret met. There was a British fascist rally, and it didn't take William long to propose to her, to Margaret. And so their relationship was said to be passionate and volatile, and then was later described by Margaret as being a pathological love. And that seems like a good title for a song. So if I start singing, you'll know why. Now, during this period, Joyce was a deputy to Sir Oswald Mosley in the British Union of Fascists. But at the same time, papers that were released comparatively recently, I'd have to say, showed he was also an undercover agent for a MI5 department, which was then led by Maxwell Knight. Maxwell starts with an M, and so does the character in James Bond books. So when Ian Fleming wrote them, he was clearly thinking of Maxwell. And just before the Second World War actually started, Maxwell Knight tipped off William Joyce about his impending arrest, and that allowed the Joyces as a couple to escape to Berlin. And that itself, you make your own thoughts on that one. So William and Margaret Joyce were granted German citizenship in 1940, and they became the voice of Nazi propaganda. Lord Haw Haw actually got quite a very large following in the United Kingdom. It's said that even the princesses Elizabeth and Margaret used to listen to him. Well, okay, they were teenagers at the time, and they might have thought it was funny. Lady Haw Haw was Margaret Joyce, and she made over 500 broadcasts, and her salary was almost the same as that of her husband, something which happened very rarely in Nazi Germany. Now, Hitler awarded William Joyce the Cross of War Merit, and Margaret got the Civil Merit Medal. The Cross of War Merit was also given to many Holocaust perpetrators. As Berlin was about to fall, it is said that Joseph Goebbels ordered the Joyces not to be captured. They can't be captured, and so there was an alleged plan to escape to Ireland via a U-boat. I find this rather hard to believe, but anyway, there you go, that's the story. And William Joyce's last broadcast was somewhat drunk at the time, and he did this on the day that Hitler died, and then he went on the run. And it would seem that the couple actually enjoyed their period on the run, because the first night they'd been in Berlin, they'd been under bombardment, suddenly out in the countryside, and they had a certain amount of freedom being out there. Where they were going to get food from, of course, I don't know if they'd actually considered that. Nonetheless, this enjoyable time in their lives only lasted for around a month. On the 28th of May 1945, William Joyce was captured, and he got shot in the buttocks by a British soldier at the time of his capture, and this happened near the border of Germany and Denmark. And Margaret was actually arrested some hours later. Why weren't they arrested together? Good question. Don't know. The Margaret was held in Flensburg in a cell that had been occupied, as word has it, by other Nazis. It's been claimed that Himmler actually occupied the same cell as Early occupied the same cell, but that's not true. He hadn't, unless when he'd been in Flensburg, he'd actually spent the night there. He might have visited the cell, but he had. And William was taken to Lüneburg, and there the soldiers around sort of enjoyed a few laughs at his expense. Now, the British intelligence amasses case number 9. This was against Margaret Joyce. They've got recordings of her broadcasts, and not only that, they've also got tax records from Nazi Germany, and that shows that the really large salary she got for being a Nazi agent. Now, this next bit is not very clear, so I'm just going to put a theory forward. It's not my theory, but it does make some sense. So maybe a deal was done. And the problem was this: Maxwell Knight had links to Joyce. Now, he may have been, it's understandable that MI5 may have had wanted to keep tabs on the British Union of Fascists, and indeed I would expect them to do that in order to protect the country from a potential treasonous organisation. And but these links maybe went a little bit further than that. Maybe Maxwell Knight's, he did tip, well, anyways, he tipped off Joyce. He allowed him to go. So don't want that getting out into the public arena. So how about this as a deal for the husband? If the husband, William Joyce, remains silent about what he did, then the authorities will let Margaret Joyce off. There's a lot of, Lord Haw Haw was too well known. Everybody knew him. Now, I can recall stories about him from my youth. Of course, I wasn't around during the Second World War. I might look it, but I wasn't. And but lots of people actually would tell you about it. The listening to him. So he was too well known, and he'd been captured. So on the 3rd of January 1946, he was hanged. He put on trial first, and he was hanged. Now, despite being American-born, he was executed for being British because he held a British passport. That's it. The obvious line of defence was, well, how can I be a traitor if I'm not British? Which is fair enough. You can't be a traitor if you're not citizen of that country. So on the 4th of January 1946, the day after the execution, the governor of Holloway Prison tells Margaret Joyce that she's to be released and she's been to be sent to continental Europe. So on the 5th of January, the following day, she was flown to a detention centre in Brussels. And on the 19th of January 1946, a MI5 memorandum officially confirms that the United Kingdom will not prosecute her on compassionate grounds, they're the words used, and requests that she be sent to Germany as a German subject, because by this time she was, of course, a German subject who had been granted Nazi German citizenship. So, William Joyce, he's an American. He was executed as a British traitor, while his wife, who was born in Manchester, which I think is still in the United Kingdom, and it probably was then as well, she was to be set free because she was German. Now, how do you explain that? I don't know. Well, so there you go. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks very much for watching. I upload every day now, 200 hours. I have also do longer videos on Tuesdays and on Fridays. If you're interested, I also offer channel membership. Membership costs £5, €6, $6 per month. Gives you access to around 800 members only videos. So if you're interested in this type of thing, research-based history, then please do take me up on that one. As you can see, I'm now in my motorhome because I do a lot of research. and I'm now in doing some research on First World War battlefields, and so you can see lots of videos where I've actually filmed things for myself. For the moment, all the best. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.